Can you imagine a place where people still send handwritten love letters, where marriages last just 3 days and sometimes turn into forever? A country where tea isn't just a beverage, but part of an emotional ritual called a cupa. And a cry? No, this isn't a fairy tale. This is Ireland. And what you're about to discover might forever change your perspective on what human connection truly means. This is the country where love is eccentric, nature is a character, and tradition has more power than Wi-Fi. Get ready for a journey through 15 facts that seem straight out of a book of myths, but are as real as the greenest grass on the planet. In the heart of Ireland, there's a tiny village with fewer than 100 residents. It would be just another dot on the map, if not for one absolutely unique detail. This place sends more than 10,000 love letters every year. Sounds like fiction, but this is the daily routine in Gort, where romance survives the digital era with ink, paper, and emotion. It's as if the entire village functions as a time machine, where writing feelings by hand and waiting days for a response is still normal. Would you be willing to trade instant messages for real love letters? Every September, the village of Lisdoonvarna transforms. What's normally a quiet countryside village becomes Ireland's Las Vegas of love. More than 40,000 people travel there to participate in a matchmaking festival that has already resulted in more than 3,000 actual marriages. But the most curious part? There's an option for a trial marriage that lasts just 3 days. That's right, you can marry someone, live as a couple for 72 hours, have photos, a party, ring, and then decide whether to continue or not. It might sound like a modern craze, but this tradition is centuries old and based on an ancient book of marriages kept by a local matchmaker. Willie Daly is one of the last professional matchmakers in Ireland, and perhaps in the world. He oversees part of the Lisdoonvarna festival with a relic inherited from his father, a 150-year-old notebook where generations of meetings, marriages, and crossed destinies are recorded. According to tradition, touching the book with both hands increases your chances of getting married within 6 months. Mysticism? Perhaps. But participants insist the energy is real. And in a world where even love has become an algorithm, there's something poetically human about believing in an old book and encounters guided by a storyteller. Did you know that about 10% of the Irish population has naturally red hair? That's the highest rate in the world. But in recent years, this genetic heritage has become a cause for concern. With increasing diversity and social changes, couples where both partners are redheads have become rarer. And with this, a curious idea was born, encouraging unions between redheads. There are even dating events specifically for this, and campaigns that playfully promote preserving the flaming DNA. Is it an exaggeration? Maybe. But it also reveals something very profound: Irish pride in their own identity. In Ireland, drinking tea is a sacred act. And we're not just talking about flavor or tradition. We're talking about consolation. The cupa and a cry, literally a cup and a cry, is an emotional ritual. When something bad happens, when someone needs to vent, the first step is to make tea. Then comes the hug, the conversation, the silence. It's as if the aroma of tea signals that you're safe. Each Irish person consumes an average of 1,400 cups per year, perhaps because there, tea doesn't just warm the body, but also the heart. If you've made it this far and are as enchanted as we are, perhaps it's time to become part of this journey. Subscribe to the MindSparks channel and continue discovering a world that few see, but everyone feels. Here, each video is a journey. And you're our special guest. You're walking through Dublin and suddenly hear, "Hey love, don't be alarmed. It's not a pickup line, nor a mistake. It's just the Irish way of being kind." Irish women often call strangers love, darling, pet, even sweetheart. It's affectionate, it's casual, it's welcoming, and it says a lot about the local lifestyle, a society where emotional connection comes before formality. Yes, you read that correctly. There's a tradition, especially in rural areas, of hiding an engagement ring or a marriage proposal note inside homemade bread with butter. The logic? Blending love with everyday life, with the food that unites, with simplicity. It's like saying, "I love you so much that this deserves to be in your first bite of the day." Surprising, isn't it? But in Ireland, the extraordinary lies in the detail. In the heart of Dublin, a simple church harbors an impressive secret: authentic relics of Saint Valentine, the patron saint of love. That's right, the remains of the man who gave rise to Valentine's Day are there in a golden reliquary, visited by couples seeking blessings for eternal love. And it's not just tradition. Many truly believe that praying there strengthens their union. Imagine celebrating your wedding next to Saint Valentine. In Ireland, love isn't just celebrated. It's sacred. If you think Ireland is just cold and foggy, prepare for a visual shock. Beaches with white sand and crystal clear blue water are part of the country's southwest, especially in the regions of Kerry and Cork. They're known as the Caribbean of Europe, but with one essential difference. The Green Mountains seem to embrace the ocean, and even better, on some of these beaches there's no cell phone signal. Would you have the courage to disconnect and live in the moment? Under the cold, wind and clear skies of Ireland, Irish history is marked by conflicts, resistance and reconstruction, and behind each of these moments were women, discreet, determined, resilient. Even with a strongly Catholic and patriarchal culture in the past, Irish women have always been leaders within the home, guardians of tradition, and today, increasingly, protagonists in society. Calling them pet or love is almost a cultural irony, because behind the sweetness of the vocabulary, there's an ancestral strength. The Irish woman is the heart of the island. In Ireland, people don't just talk about jobs or careers. There's an almost poetic concept: emotional occupation. It's what you do that nourishes your spirit. It could be tending to the garden, writing stories, serving tea, telling jokes. It's common to see Irish people who choose to work less to live more, even with an average cost of living between $2,200 and $2,500 per month. They know that wealth isn't just in the pocket, but also in the lit fireplace, in laughter at night, in a received letter. Would you trade your busy routine for this life with fewer things but more soul? Before Google, before podcasts, there was the Sean-Chai, the traditional Irish storyteller. These men, and now women too, orally carry legends, myths, and real stories, passed down from generation to generation. Even today, in small villages, it's common to see them speaking to an entire group in absolute silence. No slides, no soundtrack, no likes, just words, intonation, and eyes that shine. This is storytelling in its purest form. And in Ireland, it's still a sacred craft. Interestingly, 1 in every 5 marriages involving Irish people happens with American. It could be the common language, the similar sense of humor, or perhaps the heritage of the great Irish diaspora that, centuries ago, took millions to the United States. But the fact is that the connection between the two countries goes beyond pop culture and pubs. It's something ancestral, familiar. Many Americans visit Ireland not as tourists, but as if they were returning home. And some, in fact, are. There are places in Ireland where the sense of time disappears. Stone houses, old-fashioned lampposts, pubs with fireplaces lit since the 19th century. In these villages, children still play ball in the street, bread is still made in the morning, the church bell still marks the hour, but beauty comes at a price. Many young people are leaving in search of opportunity, and these places, despite being enchanting, are starting to be inhabited by more tourists than natives. It's the Irish paradox, preserving the magical without losing the human. More than a country, Ireland is a state of mind, a place where silence has sound, where tradition still dances with the present, where love doesn't need to be perfect, but needs to be felt. Each tea served, each word spoken, with a heavy accent, each redhead passing on the street. Everything is part of a larger story, a story that, even with the advancement of technology, insists on being told the old way, with soul. Perhaps that's why Ireland fascinates so many, because it reminds us of something the modern world is forgetting, that living well isn't about having everything, it's about feeling everything. And you? Would you have the courage to live in a place where time doesn't rule, but the heart does? If this video made you travel without leaving your seat, imagine what's coming in the next ones. Like, comment, and subscribe to the Mind Sparks channel, where each fact is a spark to expand your mind. Share with someone you'd take to live 3 days of an Irish marriage, or a lifetime in a village with the smell of fresh bread and ancient stories.